Why are people still getting record deals?
You understand what I'm saying? And I own my masters. The problem is that you signed the contract. When you get into the situation in the first place, you asked to become a slave. You asked for it. You went and chased down whoever you could chase down that was a representative of that label and asked them, please make me a slave. I would not sign to a major record label at this point because I do all the work. I go find the artist, I make the beat, he writes the rhyme, I record everything, I mix it, then I have to hand it in and I don't own it. And I make 10 cents off of it. That doesn't make sense. Makes no sense whatsoever. So if I can sell 5,000 or 10,000 on my own, I would rather do that.
If you just go back in time, what record companies did extremely well, the way they protected their business, if anybody could build a business if you had this level of monopoly, you couldn't find your fans, you couldn't find your audience unless you signed to a record company. The only way for you to find your audience was to get to a record company, they get your video on MTV, they get your song on the radio. Now, artists find their fans before they find a record company. You actually start building your audience before you find a record company. So it never made sense to me when that switched, why you would have to sign to a record company and then give away your masters as a result of that.
But we as a people, the minister said it best, like, you so impressed with the shiny Cadillac, and we're going to use the same word that he used, but you can replace that with anything. You're so impressed with this shininess that you don't see the value of being on your own. The only thing they do for you is give you a loan. That's all it is. It's a bank. When you walk in there, they give you however much, $1 million, right? You hear somebody say, oh, I signed for $1 million. They don't got $1 million in their pocket. That $1 million is used to distribute your CD.
Market, promote, publicize.
Right. A whole bunch of nonsense that's not necessary anymore. So the understanding has to come that we don't need to sign up to be slaves, and then you won't deal with that situation.
It's 2022. It makes no sense. They exploit you. They take ownership of your masters, which is like your future. It's like owning a company and somebody takes ownership of the future of all your revenue. They have these predatory 360 deals, which means that they have ownership of everything. And then they sell you a lie that says you have to tour to make money. But when you look at these record labels, I can't remember what year it was, but artists make 12% of what the music or record labels make off of their music. But these record labels, they're not on tour. So how do they make all this money? Even Russ said it. He only makes 30% profit when he goes on tour. He makes his money from his music. He's an independent artist. So I want to give you an example. I want to paint a picture for you. What a record label or what a record deal is. Think about Mark Zuckerberg, right? It's 2003. He's in his dorm room. He's just finished off creating Facebook. It's time to get all the students at Harvard on board. So he opens it up to all the students in Harvard, and they all jump on Facebook. Then all of a sudden, people in neighboring universities, across the country even, jump onto Facebook, and he has 100,000 subscribers or 100,000 people on his platform, right? Kind of like a musician who's made themselves poppin'. They have 100,000 subscribers on Instagram. Same kind of thing, right? So he's popping. Everyone's on Facebook. It's the latest cool thing. Then Bill Gates, or AKA a record label, sees him and he's like, oh, what that guy's doing is really cool. I want a piece of that. So Bill Gates goes over to Mark Zuckerberg and says, hey, can you see this money? $1 million. In real life, it was $250 million. But okay, he says, look, here's $1 million. This is what they give musicians typically, $1 million, right? And I'm going to put this money into you, right? But it's a loan. He doesn't disclose that it's a loan. He doesn't use that type of terminology, right? It's a deal. It's a deal. You see, in this deal, I'll give you 50% upfront, $500,000. Maybe Mark has never seen $500,000 in his life in his account. right? $500,000. And then I'm going to hold the other $500,000 and I'm going to decide how we're going to spend it to grow Facebook. But this $500,000, secretly, I might encourage you, go buy a chain, go buy a car, go buy all these things. But I might encourage you to do that. I'm not going to tell you that actually that's your budget for Facebook right now in the next few months for building Facebook. I don't tell you that. $500,000 up front, take and spend it as you wish. But that's a loan. And then this other $500,000, I'm going to control how the money is spent in building Facebook. But here's the catch. Here's the thing. And I don't really disclose this that well. All the future profits of Facebook, I own 100% of those. I own 100% of those. All future profits of Facebook. But I will make you the face of Facebook. I will make you famous. You will be a household name. Everybody will love you, Mark Zuckerberg. I will make you so popular, so poppin'. I'll give you access to all the women, all the cars, all the everything. I'll give you all of that. That's what a record label deal is. That's what a record deal is. A scam. But I'm not going to call it a scam because you're stupid for not even knowing. It's a trap. Because at the end of the day, you're still going to have to pay back all that money. It's a loan. It's a loan. It's not them just giving you money to take, right? It's a loan. It's not even an investment, because at least an investment, if you lose it, hey, a loan you have to pay back. A loan you have to pay back, right? It's a loan, And I didn't add, the final thing that he would say is, but I give you this $1 million, Mark, and I control how Facebook is run 100%. Now, what do you think Mark Zuckerberg would have told Bill Gates if that was what he offered him? He would have told him to shut the hell up and get the hell out of my sight. Why? Because Mark Zuckerberg is a businessman. Even at 18 or however old he was when he started Facebook, he was a businessman. But unfortunately, a lot of artists, a lot of creatives don't have any business acumen and don't realize when they're being scammed. You give them this money and they blow it. So in reality, what did Mark Zuckerberg actually do? Or Bill Gates? He gave Mark Zuckerberg $250 million or something thereabouts for 1% equity in Facebook, leaving Facebook in charge, or Mark Zuckerberg in charge of his company, and being able to build the company and control the company himself. That's a massive difference. So what am I saying here? Why on earth will a label giving you $1 million, but really $500,000 up front as a loan, why would that make you give away your future earnings? Does that make any sense?
If a record company wants to invest in you because you got a business going, if you have a business going already, you can invest in me, but that doesn't mean you should own my shit. And no disrespect to nobody, but these guys start talking like, well, you speaking to record company guys talk, well, I don't believe if I make an investment, you should give me, I shouldn't give you my fucking trademarks. I shouldn't give you my IP. I already built an audience. You didn't find me in my mom's house, man. You found me on YouTube and TikTok and I was doing it. So you're going to put money in me and not treat it like a regular investment where you get a good return on your investment? That's cool. You don't need to own my rights. So those are usury terms, okay? Those loans are usury terms. If that was a banking business, it would be illegal, the terms in which they lend their money on.
If Mark Zuckerberg didn't do it, if any business entrepreneur doesn't do that, why on earth would you change up the game with your music? And it's because most creatives have no business acumen. How there's this lie that as a creative, you're not supposed to have business acumen. It's a lie that is spread by people, how would I describe them? Scammers that want to exploit you. Every creative should have business acumen, especially in this era.
They're all entrepreneurs now.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're an artist, you're an entrepreneur. So let's just stop the artist thing and make it an artist and like you're creative and you're over there. Whether you're a manager or whoever it is that's around you, you need to be treated like an entrepreneur. And when you're an entrepreneur, you make decisions. You going to bet on yourself for the long run, or you going to take the short money? And everybody's faced with that decision. I don't care what it is, man. You could buy a piece of property and you could be like, is this thing going to go all the way, or you're going to sell it real fast? And I've seen a lot of people sell property real fast and go, shit, if I would have just held this shit for 3 years, it would have been triple. I didn't get the triple. And that's the same thing with these artists. Do you want to sign with a record company and sign your rights away, or do you want to build your career?
Every career, there is no excuse for you not to have good business acumen. And stop allowing these predators exploit you. Unfortunately, in music, because a lot of musicians come from nothing. They've never seen that much money in their faces before, in their accounts in one go. So they think it's theirs and they splurge it all, they blow it all. But really, that's just a loan. And you're better off going to a bank and getting a loan from a bank, right? And if, as in this modern era, because labels don't even start artists from the ground up anymore, they're looking for people that are popping online. You've already built a following. You've already built a lucrative following. You should figure out how to monetize your following so that your accounts look poppin', so the bank wants to invest in you, wants to give you a loan, right? Because a bank is not going to give you a predatory loan. So that's the main takeaway here. You don't need a record label. Just do the work. It's a lot more work, but just do it.
What does he need a major label to do for him? What is he missing? What part is missing?
Well, I think that Toby is a super talented, one of my favorite artists. But until, in my opinion, my humble opinion, until we have an artist that's as big as Drake, the fame, right? That's part of it too. Vanity, fame. You could be Rush, you could be independent, but the biggest artists in the world still get played on radio, still are signed to major labels. Drake, who you name it. So the independent game, from my knowledge, has increased 32%, I believe, during the pandemic last year.
Yeah.
But we, like you said, the biggest artists are still on labels. The vast majority of them don't own their masters. So is it ever going to be a thing where independence becomes the top level, or will it always be like a subsidiary?
And really, when you see an artist and you think, wow, this artist is so big, there's no independent artist that is as big as this. The truth is, you just need strong marketing. An artist is not necessarily big, they just have strong marketing behind them. So instead of getting a record deal, you need to hire the strongest marketing team. Build out a strong marketing team. If the Kardashians could build out a lucrative and strong marketing team, why on earth can't you do that? So build out a strong marketing team comparable to a record label. Have people that study the Kardashians. Go hire someone that used to work for the Kardashians and their marketing team. Go hire the strongest marketing people that worked for labels, people who have marketed musicians before. Go hire them and have them build out your career, your marketing, to make you a big artist. We haven't seen it yet, but we're going to start seeing independent musicians become mega superstars because they figured out they just need to learn how to market themselves. There need to be new companies, new record label structures that are not as exploitative. In fact, I think there needs to be some sort of musical union that takes down the traditional music record label system. It's obsolete, it's exploitative, and it's horrific. And a lot of record labels are going to argue, when we're investing all this money and starting up these musicians, how are we going to recoup the cost? You can still recoup a lot of the costs if you don't have to be greedy. They'll also say that, well, this has happened since the beginning of the music industry. Like, why should we stop? Why should we change it? Well, slavery happened for hundreds of years. There were a lot of people that were advocates for slavery to continue. But why did slavery stop? Because it was immoral. And these exploitative strategies are, I don't think they're moral. I know some people could argue that they are. I just think artists need to be wiser, wisen up, don't get scammed, don't be foolish. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts. Leave a comment down below. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, all the above. My name is Kenim, and see you next time. A peace.
It's about green and about power and control. And they really, really, really see the end coming. The end is coming. 10 years from now, these record labels will not be here in the capacity that they are now. Because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't. If I'm an artist, I would not sign to a major record label at this point. Because I do all the work. I go find the artist. I make the beat. He writes the rhyme. I record everything. I mix it. Then I have to hand it in and I don't own it. And I make 10 cents off of it. That doesn't make sense. Makes no sense whatsoever.